Hi guys, today's lesson is about music theory, technology, and additional technology that is useful in the music classroom. I want to show you several things in this session for music theory so that you can decide for yourself what is most useful for your classroom. The first one that I have up here, which I'm going to spend the most time on with doing a tutorial, is Tonesavvy. This used to be called eMusic Theory. I highly recommend this. I have used it in the classroom for many years, for a year long. It covers a lot of different aspects in music theory. Also helps with rhythm, ear training, that sort of thing, not just notation. So as you can see here, you can purchase, and now students can use this individually without having to be part of a class, but you can be more specific about what you're wanting to teach them when you have a paid subscription. And you can do it by the month or you can do it by the year. I always did it paid for 10 months at a time so that I had it for the entire school year. But I have signed up for a 30-day trial here so we can practice and let you guys experience what it's like as a student. But let me kind of walk you through what goes on here. The exercises, as you can see, cover note names, interval building, interval identification. I used those lots of times for my students. So they can not only just identify them, but they also had to be able to create them on the staff. You can teach them chord building. Of course, that's a little bit more advanced, but you can do everything from simple chords to very intricate chords, chord identification, functions. Pace note names is sort of like a game, and it'll come across the screen, and they have to be able to identify the note before it exits the screen. You've got rhythm dictation, rhythm performance. So not only do they have to identify a rhythm they're hearing, but if they hear a rhythm for the performance part, I'm sorry, the dictation part, they have to be able to notate it on the screen. Key signatures, scales, piano keys, guitar frets if you're teaching a guitar class, stringed instrument fingerboards, that's for probably string teachers, obviously. Ear training, chord training for the ear. Just as you can see, it goes on and on and on. It's perfect for the classroom, and I highly recommend it. So I'm going to go ahead and log in as the teacher and let you see how this works from the standpoint of the teacher. If I were a student at this point, I would put in the teacher code. So you need to make sure that, of course, your students have the teacher code that will log them into the correct class. And so here is where you set up your student groups. Let's say you had 3 choirs and you had a beginning chorus, an intermediate chorus, and an advanced chorus. This is where you would identify those. And so we have a student group already here that I have set up. It's for choral methods. And here is where you can view and add your students to the class. Let's go back to the dashboard. Here's where you can set up the assignments. Then when you give the assignments to the students, and then it'll also grade this for you. The students can see what their grade is immediately. They also can see what their grade is as they're progressing. The neat thing about this is I was able to allow students to practice this over and over. If they didn't like their score, they stopped, started again, or they can go as long as they want to kind of raise their score. Either way, but I really liked it because they could tell immediately how they were doing, and if they were having some issues, then it would be pretty apparent pretty quickly. So let's set up some assignment sets. Okay, So I'm going to do an assignment set of note names. And then let's do another one for key signatures. All right. So as of right now, we don't have anything in our sets for assignments. So I'm going to click on the Note Names Assignment tab. And we're going to create a new assignment for our class. So let's do a note name. Let's see, let's do the grand staff. I'm going to call this Identify Notes on the Staff. And here's all of your guidelines or your parameters. Usually I put 0 for time limit, just because all the students work at a different pace. Minimum correct, you can put whatever you want to there. Let's say we're going to do, well, let's just do 10 problems. And max errors, I'm going to put like some crazy off the wall number because I don't want this to skew what they're doing. So I'm just going to put 5,000 in there. If you want them to have hints, you can, but I always knew that, in class I explained it very well. They had taken notes. So I usually opted out for no hints. But if you feel like they need them, feel free to add them. Automatically end the quiz when the student fulfills the above criteria. I'm not going to check that. And let's just leave that at 1. So my instructions are, please identify the note names of the notes seen on the staff. And then if you've only, taught them specific names, and maybe you haven't gone above the staff yet, you may want to X out some of the notes. All right. Or I could have easily done remove ledger lines. That would have taken care of it. If you want it to only be space notes, you can remove the lines on all the line notes. If you want it to be only line notes, you can say remove the notes on the spaces. So it's whatever you want to do there. But in my case, I'm just going to remove the ledger lines. And for whatever reason, I can't get that to cooperate. All right, so play sounds, you can if you like. If it's in the classroom and you're all working at a computer lab together, you might require them to use their earbuds or just have the sound cut off altogether from your dashboard so that you don't have to worry about that. Okay, then you can test it out, and I advise you do that. So here's what it will look like when the student has it. It tells them the notes that are going to be put on the board and everything. Then they can start the quiz on their own. And so we see here that we have an A, E, F. Now this time I'm going to deliberately answer wrong, and I want you to watch what happens. Nothing changes. Now I'm going to answer it correctly. But see, if you noticed, each time the score changed. So they can watch their score as they go. It tells them how many errors they've had, how many they've completed, and that sort of thing. And my ledger lines are showing up even though I requested it didn't. So anyway, so that's what it looks like for them. And then there will be a button for them to submit when they're ready to submit. So we're going to get rid of that screen, get back to the teacher screen, save the assignment. And I think we'll leave that alone as now. Let's go back to the assignment sets. Let's do one for key signatures. Okay, so key signature. This time I'm going to just strictly do flat key signatures. Let's make them major. And time limit 0. Let's do 10. Gazillion eras. Let's do no hints. Again, that will be totally your choice. Identify the flat key signatures as shown on the screen. Okay, so we're going to do E flat, F, G flat, F flat. Okay. So we're going to test it out. And notice they will have to select flat if it's part of the name. So this is the key of E flat. That's correct. And G flat, C flat. Okay, and this is going ahead and doing sharps. This is just the sample there. Now, on this one, for instance, this is the key of B, not B sharp, but you have to select a natural with it, so there's no accidental beside it as far as the key name. Make sure that your students understand that. Okay, so that gives you an idea. So we're going to save assignment. I'm going to hit that test one more time. Okay, here we go. Here's a sample with just one letter name with no accidental. So F, natural. Okay. All right, so now we're going to give the assignments to our students. Okay, so note names we're going to assign to Choral methods. And here you can determine when the cutoff date is for that. And I'm going to make it the 30th. And then we're going to do key signatures, Choral methods, on the 30th. So now the assignments have been given. And now what I would like you to do is to take the password and username that I gave you and go to Tonesavvy and complete the assignment as a student. So that's tonesavvy.com.